Hi guys, Skip here. I just wanted to make a video sharing some stories with you and some cards and telling you a little bit about how I got into the hobby this time around. So about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I decided I was going to get back into collecting baseball cards. So I bought a bunch of cards, some packs and some parallels and some autographs and some patch cards. And then I started looking at the prices of packs and the different kinds of things that came in the packs, and I was just so confused. I didn't know if something was a parallel or a short print or a super short print or a variation of the photo. So I got so confused, and I was like, let me start looking at the vintage cards. I always wanted to own a lot of the vintage cards when I was a kid. So I started looking at Mickey Mantle cards and Ted Williams cards, thinking that these cards were probably far out of my price range. And what I found was that you could buy a lot of vintage cards that were very nice for um, cheaper even than what you could buy a box of newer cards. So I thought, well, if I got one of these old cards in a new pack, I would be super excited. So why don't I just start collecting these older cards? So I started buying and looking up Mickey Mantle cards and Ted Williams for a couple reasons. One, my grandfather was a huge Mickey Mantle fan and a huge Yankee fan. Even though I myself am a huge Red Sox fan and hate the Yankees, I thought it would, remind me of my grandfather a lot. And he's passed on, so it gave me something to remember him by in my collection. But also, I used to watch a lot of Red Sox Yankee games with my grandfather. And then I thought, Ted Williams, he's like the ultimate Red Sox player, and my dad was a big Ted Williams fan. So I would start there and I'd start collecting those guys. So that's what I did, but I also thought, well, maybe I could start a set. So I thought about looking at the older sets, and I was going to start with like maybe a 55 set or a 56 set. I like the design, the horizontal design of those cards. But then I'm not someone that can really stay interested in like building a set. I get really bored with that. So I thought, let's start with something smaller. So I started buying some of the 58 Topps All Star cards because I thought they looked really cool. So they have two different designs for the American League and the National League. So you got the red background. This one here is the manager card. And then you have the blue background for the National League and the red for the American League. So I started doing that. There's 21 cards in the set, so I didn't think it would be that bad. And I actually just barely finished it, buying the last card that I needed for the set. Took me about 5 years, so you can imagine how long it would have took me to complete a actual full set. So just gonna show you some of these cards. This was the first year, 58 was the first year that Topps did an all-star breakout set. So let's take a look at some of the cards in this set. So here we have the manager's card. We got Herb Score, Jackie Jensen, Ted Williams. Ted Williams was the third vintage card I bought. The first one was it was actually a regular 58 Ted Williams that I bought. And then I bought a Mickey Mantle Topps Giants card. And then I bought this Ted Williams. And this was the fourth card that I bought, the Mickey Mantle that went along with it. I was PCing Mickey and Ted. Bob Tarley, Frank Malzone. I bought this one pretty early too because I actually have a small Frank Malzone collection. And Frank Malzone was the first ever card that I owned that was a vintage card, in 1955 Bowman Frank Malzone that my brother bought for me at a card show back in probably 1989. The old Moose Scourin. He looks pretty mean in that picture. This is a great set because you get a lot of Hall of Famers in this set, and for a very reasonable price. Ernie Banks. Who doesn't love some Ernie Banks? Stan Musial. Hank Aaron. Bobby Friend. This was the last card I needed to complete this set, and when prices jumped because of COVID, just before COVID, the price of Willie Mays skyrocketed, so I had a hard time parting out for it, but found this one here is decent shape, fairly reasonable recently, so I ended up picking it up and completing the set. Eddie Matthews. Eddie Matthews was actually on the team, but never actually played in the game with a bunch of other people. This is what the backs look like. Kind of boring. And Warren Spahn. So the 58 World Series, the American League won 4-3. And actually, Vice President Richard Nixon threw out the first pitch. 10 years later, he would become president, and, well, we all know how that ended. So anyways, thanks for taking a look at my 58 All-Star collection. It's a great set if you want something that's small to build and has a ton of All-Stars and is fairly inexpensive. Thanks. Have a great day.